everyone, I'm Lauren, and today I'm going to do my TBR for the NEWTS Magical Readathon thing. It's a Harry Potter themed readathon that takes place across 2 months. There's the Owls and the NEWTS. The NEWTS are held in August, and the Owls are held in April, and I forgot to talk about that in my April and May wrap-up, but whatever. So it's a Harry Potter themed readathon for now. It will be changing next year due to, J.K. Rowling being kind of about transgender stuff. But the host, I don't remember her name. I'm terrible with names. She wants to create a new original stuff for next year, but for now, she didn't want to cancel the NEWTS. So right now it's Harry Potter themed. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's a readathon where you get prompts based off the Owls and NEWTS that you want to take, and each exam has a different prompt to it. So you have to pass your Owls to do the NEWT version, but you could break all the rules if you really want to. I'll link to the video explaining about the NEWT part of it. So I did a wrap-up for April, but I forgot to say what prompts did what. So you're just gonna have to trust me, and that I did all of them except one. The only one that I didn't fulfill was Ancient Ruins. But since I did all of them other than one, that means that I can choose almost any career that I want to. And so I decided to go for the Astronomer career. And to do that, I need to get the Arithmancy O level, the Astronomy O level, and the History of Magic A level. And so O, you have to fulfill 3 prompts, and A, you only have to do 1. So that means 7 prompts. Yay, math. And so I just wanted to go over the prompts that I have to do and what I'm planning on reading for them. And yeah, that's how TBR works. Before that, though, I just want to briefly mention there are 2 books that I think I will try to read because they are for Murphy's Readathon buddy read. I can't remember the terms all the time. Oh, and I almost forgot. Sorry if you hear construction noises in the background. There's some work being done on the roof, but I'm just gonna do this anyway. So for 2 of the Murphy's buddy reads, the 2 that I know about, I don't know what the 3rd one is, but I might read Crier's War by Nina Varela and the Neverending Story by Michael Ende. Crier's War I do have on hold on the library. Neverending Story I might be able to read or maybe not. Depends. Because library is all weird right now. Okay, now on to the prompts for the readathon and what I plan to read for them. So for the first Arithmancy prompt, I need to read a non-fiction book. And I didn't have too many, actually, in my TBR, but I did have this one that I really want to read. And that is The Falcon Thief, A True Tale of Adventure, Treachery, and the Hunt for the Perfect Bird by Joshua Hammer. I don't know a whole lot about this, but I think it's something to do about the illegal trade and smuggling of falcons and their eggs. I read a little bit and it seemed to be well written enough, so I just grabbed a copy because it wasn't in my library, or at least at the time. And so yeah, I want to read this. I think it's a new release as well. Yeah, this year, so it's a pretty new release as well. The next Arithmancy prompt, I need to read a book that ends on an odd number page. This took a little bit of digging around because it's a little bit hard to tell that. I'm just going off of what Goodreads says. I plan to read The Lost World by Michael Crichton. This is the sequel to Jurassic Park and the final book in the duology. I really don't know much about this other than going back to Jurassic Park, I guess. And stuff's gonna get bad. I hope it's good, because the author doesn't usually write sequels from what I know, so maybe it's really bad. We'll see. For the last Arithmancy prompt, I have to read a book that is between 260 and 299 pages long. This one I plan to read Hexed by Kevin Hearne, the 2nd book in the Iron Druid series. This is a humorous, urban fantasy with a really ancient, druid guy, and he just wants to chill out. But, It's kind of monster of the week type of stories from what I understand. Somebody comes along, messes up his day, and he has to go deal with it. This is 294 pages, so barely in that range. For the first astronomy prompt, I have to read a book with a star on the cover or in the title name or series name. For this one, I plan to read The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Kowal, the first book in the Lady Astronaut series. I think this is something to do with an asteroid coming down and wiping out Washington, D.C., and some badass women have to go to space because there's not enough men or something. I don't know. From what I understand, it's definitely a woman power type of book, and I'm all for that, so let's go. I've heard this is really good, and I think it won a Hugo Award as well, so I hope it is good. The second astronomy prompt is to read a sci-fi, and for this one I plan to read Gathering Blue by Lowry, the second book in the Giver Quartet, I think it's called. I don't remember what this one's about, but something about disability in here, I think. Town doesn't like that. I have read this before, but it's been a really, really long time. And yeah, I want to read this for my goals this year. I need to make more progress on my goals, so even though I won't finish all of them, I want to make more progress anyway. And yeah, I guess this is a sci-fi. It's a pretty light sci-fi. It says sci-fi in Goodreads. I remember liking this, but we'll see how that goes. It's been so long, so I don't know. For the last astronomy prompt, I have to read one of my biggest books in my TBR. And I just remembered this was a book that was also for Murphy's Buddy Reads. So, yeah. And it is Sufficiently Advanced Magic by Andrew Rowe. I don't remember the series, but it's the first book in a series. I think it was like my 7th or 8th largest book on my TBR, so out of like 100 some, I think that's pretty high up there. It's not my first, it doesn't say my largest book on my TBR, it says one of them, so I think that counts. It's almost 700 pages or something like that. I don't remember what it's about, but it sounds like it's a lit RPG, and there's a big old tower, and stuff happens. I don't know much about it, but I've heard a lot of praise for it. And I am also planning to read it for my art/fantasy bingo, so it's double whammy, triple whammy, I guess. Buddy read, fantasy bingo, and then also, what was the third thing? And this readathon, so triple whammy. So I definitely want to get this one read. And then the last prompt that I have to read, which is for the history of magic, I have to read a historical fiction. I think this counts. I'm gonna read Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. It's technically more of a romance than historical fiction, I suppose. But since it is a historical fiction, I think it should be fine, even though I would call it a romance first. Whatever, shush. I want an excuse to read this because I got partway through the audiobook and really liked it, but I kind of fall asleep when reading audiobooks, or I guess listening to audiobooks, and yeah, that doesn't really make for a good reading/listening experience, so I want to do over with this, because I did like it. It's just audiobook, it just Anyway, those are all the books that I plan to read for the Magical Readathon, the NEWTS. Let me know in the comments below if you're planning on participating in the NEWTS and what job you're gunning for. I'd like to know. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you again in another video. Bye!